Hey everyone, what's going on? Callum here from FS Elite, and I'm today showing you a first look video at SimToolkit Pro version 0.6.9. So you may remember we have done a previous video before on a previous version of SimToolkit Pro, but this is a brand new version of the platform itself, and we felt like we needed to go into detail about exactly how to use this tool, what it's used for, and also how you can import flight plans from other scheduling services similar to SimToolkit Pro. So we are here at the dashboard, so let's take a look at all the various components, and I'll take you through things like the live map, the flight planning, the briefing, your fleet, and so forth, and hopefully give you a rundown of all the new features within 0.6.9. Now, by the time this video's come out, there's probably going to be a brand new version of SimToolkit Pro, but hopefully not significantly too different from what we're going to show you today. Development activity for this particular tool is very active, so things are happening rather rapidly. With all that said, let's jump into the dashboard. So here in the top left, we just have some very basic information talking about the number of flights, the flight hours, and the current location. And underneath we have an announcement section as well, and at the moment it's talking about how you can use the Discord icon in the bottom left hand corner to bring up the Discord chat and get support from the dedicated team of volunteers who all do this to help better the SimToolkit Pro community. Underneath that we have the flight log, which details all of your recent flights, and on the right hand side as well we have a map which shows all of the current live flights within SimToolkit Pro itself. Now the detailed information isn't as detailed as other services, but it does give you an idea of exactly who is flying and roughly where they are in the virtual skies. Then underneath the map we have the latest news from both FS Elite and Threshold, so if you're ever not sure of what's happening in the world of flight simulation, this is where you can certainly find all that information. Now, one of the key features of SimToolkit Pro is the new live map. This map has been significantly updated since the previous version of SimToolkit Pro and comes with an abundance of new features. So let's start by having a look at all of the flights currently on the SimToolkit Pro server. So clicking the icon in the top left will bring up all of the flights currently flying. And if we highlight again, we get some of the basic information regarding exactly who's flying and what they're doing. So this particular person's at 53,000 feet at over 1,100 knots. So yeah, we get to see some of the information. Something I would like to have seen would potentially have been the flight paths that they've currently taken and where they are potentially heading, and maybe a little bit more information about the user and the aircraft and so forth. But yeah, it's for something that is still in a early access state, this is still a very nice bit of information. Now, additionally, there's a whole bunch of other options here at the top. So we have SimToolkit Pro. We can also turn on VATSIM flights once they load, and we can see the skies populate more, along with even IVAO flights and also FS Cloud flights as well. So once we've added all of those on, we can see the skies really look very busy. So let's just turn a few of those off just for now, and let's have a look at some of the other functionality we have at the top too. So with VATSIM and also IVAO, we can have a look at things such as the airspace ATC and also airport ATC. So right now we've switched on the VATSIM one just for demonstration purposes. So whilst we wait for that to load, let me just talk to you about some of these other colored highlights across the map as well. So up here in the overlays, we have the rainfall, and this is exactly what this color is representing. So the more red or yellow the color, the more rainfall is falling in those particular sections. And then we also have the day and night boundaries as well, so we can turn those on and off. So this whole map is completely customizable. Another overlay we have is the FIR boundaries. So this is where ATC has coverage. So if we have those on, you can see roughly where those boundaries are. And again, it's all color coded and highlighted depending on the station type itself. Now, it doesn't look like there's anyone currently online for VATSIM, so let's have a look at IVAO and see if any of that information does populate. And yeah, as you can see here, some of that information is coming up, so we can see certain airports such as Tenerife and I think that's Leon. They're all currently online, so if you are looking to fly online with any of those networks, then you can switch them on through SimToolkit Pro and have a look yourself to see exactly where you can fly. This is also really great if you are flying online and you're flying into a controller's airspace. You can be prepared and you can see exactly who is all online. So the great thing about this map, as I said, it is completely customizable, and you can also change the controls, so you can have it following you when you are flying through your simulator, or you can also adjust the map as well. So we can have a dark theme, light theme, satellite, terrain, or taxi theme. Now the taxi theme in particular is very cool. So let's just turn that one on and zoom right into an airport that's currently active. So let's have a look here at Heathrow. And once you zoomed in far enough, you can then start to see the runways and taxiway as they are at the real world airport. Now what's even cooler is you can then use your right click of the mouse button and adjust the map itself and get a 3D view of the airport, including all of the buildings and structures. So if you are flying online or you're not too familiar with a particular airport, this is a fantastic tool to help you understand the taxiways and the instructions you may be given by air traffic control. You can move this map around, and you can also see where the airport is in relation to yourself. This is a very cool feature and applies to all airports that I've tried and tested across the world. So I'm not sure if there are any that wouldn't work with this feature, as I think it's to do with the map itself, but this is still very, very cool and a very useful tool for anyone looking to learn a little bit more about the routing and taxiway markings within the airports that they frequently visit. Another option is to be able to adjust the map colors, so you can adjust the color of the aircraft and various other users online as well through the various networks. You can adjust the font scaling, and you can also adjust the network airspace air traffic control. So this map is very, very powerful and is continuously getting new features to better the user experience. Now moving on to the flight planning section, another key component of SimToolkit Pro. So on the left hand side, we can create flight plans from scratch. We can also choose to add a airline route, as well as coming soon a VFR planner, and also being able to create a random flight based on specific preferences. Now both of those last two features are not yet available, and once they are, we may consider making a tutorial video specific for those functionalities. On the right hand side, you can import an existing flight plan either from SimBrief, PFPX, or various other plans, or you can also create your own route down here at the bottom right as well. So I want to show you a little bit more about finding an airline route, because some of this functionality is brand new to SimToolkit Pro version 0.6. So all of the information is installed directly onto your PC, so there's no communication to a server. So even if the SimToolkit servers are down, then you'll still be able to access all of this because everything is stored locally. Now when you come into the scheduling section, there are some new options you may not be familiar with. The first one of which is flying an airline route. So within this section, you can type in any airline that you so wish. So for example, Ryanair, EasyJet, United, and all of the airlines and routings will then come up and display for you. So for example, if we go back to British Airways, for example, there's 640 routes. We can select that. Then what happens is SimToolkit Pro will look through the database and then populate every single route currently available using that particular airline. On the right hand side, we then get a map of all of those routes and the great circle distances involved. And then on the left, we get a nice selection of all of the different flights available. Now you can search using a filter system here at the top. So if in particular you wanted to fly to Orlando Airport, then you can type in that and then you can select to fly that particular route. It also comes with an estimated flight time. Not sure where that information's come from because I've never seen a flight from Gatwick to Orlando take nearly 11 hours. But the point being, you can start to really find new routes to help inspire you within Flight Simulator. Now, if we get rid of this and you're just still not sure where you want to fly, it could be a case of you've only got a few hours. You can adjust the time down here all the way down to say 4 hours, and it will give you an idea of what routes you could do within that time period. If you wanted to, you can also then adjust it depending on the aircraft type. So British Airways have a number of routes you can use with a variety of airlines, and you can whittle it down to whatever type of aircraft you want to fly on any particular given day. So if I want to fly up to 8 hours in a 747, those are the routes that are currently available with British Airways. Now, once you have found the route that you want to do, so let's say we did something in A320, we can then either choose to fly the outbound or the inbound, and then we can start adding it to our schedules. And we get a successful box here in the top right confirming that it's been added to our schedule. So if we now head over to our schedules, we can see here that the flight has been added to our schedule. And here you can also see there are a number of other scheduled flights that I've added in here, which I can now keep a track of and choose to fly as and when I'm ready to do so. The other area I want to show you is the real flights section, which are slightly different from the airline routes, and this will allow you to find airlines that you may want to fly from. So say for example you've installed some brand new scenery, so in my instance it's been the Orbex Newcastle. So we'll load up that and it will show us all of the flights that depart from Newcastle Airport. So there's a nice little variety here, possibly hundreds of flights, and obviously that will depend on the airport you choose to type in here. And you'll also get your estimated flying time to a destination as well as the days of the week as well. Now if you want to filter that down even further to specific destinations, so let's type in Alicante, you'll then get a variety of all the airlines that fly from that airport to that particular destination. And again, you can filter that down even further by selecting the aircraft type that you want to fly that particular day. So in my instance, it's the 737-800. And then again, I can now see exactly what airlines fly to that destination with that aircraft. I can then choose to either schedule it. So if I chose to schedule this Ryanair flight, I'd have to just input my aircraft and then click OK. And then we've seen here it's now been added to our schedule. So if we head back to the schedule, we can see here the Ryanair aircraft from Newcastle to Alicante has been added to our schedule. And it really is as easy as that to find flights and to then add it to your schedule. But of course, the important point is once you have then scheduled everything up, you want to then dispatch it and actually fly that route. Luckily, SimToolkit Pro does enable you to do that all from within the app, thanks to the power of SimBrief. So let's take this Ryanair flight from Newcastle to Alicante, and we're going to click over here on the dispatch icon, which is the plane taking off, and we'll be presented with a new screen. Now, for those of you who just want to do this as quickly as possible, this simple method is really straightforward to fill out. So the only required information we need to fill in here is the aircraft, and everything else has been pre-populated from departure to arrival and also our flight number as well. Now we can also change the OFP format, so previously it had been set to EasyJet, so we can change that to any number of variations, but for us let's choose Ryanair. And for those who are looking for a few more advanced options, you can do that so using the advanced option tool as well, where you can specify things such as your preferred departure runway and arrival runway, as well as also choosing the cruising altitude, as well as any fuel requirements that maybe you need to take into consideration whilst flying. You can also set passenger loads, cargo loads, and also choose whether you want to include a SID and a star in your flight plan as well. Now let's just keep things simple for the time being and let's generate the plan, and that will open up our SimBrief profile, which we've adapted via the settings, and this will take just a few seconds to generate a flight plan ready for us to fly from Newcastle down to Alicante. And here we are. So we then get taken to the flight planning stage of SimToolkit Pro, and here we can see all the information about our route. So down the right hand side we see all of that information, and then if we hover we then get taken to those specific points automatically on the map on the left hand side. Now if you do need to make any adjustments to your flight plan, you can do so up here. You can simply either delete some waypoints or you can add some in. So if we were to delete just a random selection, this may cause complete chaos, but we shall find out. And then we update our plan. There we are, we've changed the section down just down the south of France here. This really is that easy, and you can also do things such as pre-filing this flight plan to VATSIM, IVAO, POSCON, and even Pilot Edge, and you can also export this plan to a variety of FMS flight plans and also export your SimBrief OFP as well. But we'll talk a little bit more about the OFP in just a second, as you can get this information straight into SimBrief as well. So once we're happy, we're going to click Fly Now, and we'll be taken to a different page called the flight summary page, which will have all the information we need regarding our flight. And on the right hand side, we have our OFP. Now this OFP has been generated, as I mentioned earlier, by SimBrief, and includes all the information we're going to need, such as fuel, passenger weights, waypoints, weather, NOTAMs, and all the other information we're going to need for a successful flight. Now, once we are ready to, we can connect to both X-Plane 11 or Prepared. And also, if you are part of the Microsoft Flight Simulator Alpha build, you can also connect SimToolkit Pro to Microsoft Flight Simulator as well, using an experimental feature as part of SimToolkit Pro's options. Now, if we just divert our eyes back to the left-hand side, we have a few options here. So we can see Newcastle's airport information, we can see our load information, we can see information about the radio and also the weather itself, and the same again for our arrival into Alicante. We also have a variety of charts for the departure. So these are sourced from free sources online, so you don't need a Navigraph subscription necessarily to see this information, and the same for arrival. Now, of course, these charts will only appear providing the information is available online and has been approved to go into SimToolkit Pro. And of course, if you've got an alternative, you also get the same charts as well. So this is all very, very helpful, and it's all broken down into various sections from the airport, approach, arrival, departure, and also if you're into VFR flying as well. Now back onto the flight summary page, we do have the ability to see some charts and maps again through the OFP, also a scratch pad here, and also a list of our waypoints. Once we are happy, we can then connect SimToolkit Pro to our simulator, as I mentioned earlier, and then we will then appear on the live map. As I mentioned earlier as well, with the live map, it will have a feed of your flight plan directly linked to the live map, so you can follow your route as you fly, and also you can see how you're doing in relation to the flight plan submitted versus exactly what you are flying within the simulator itself. The map does get updated every few seconds as you fly, and again, this is particularly useful when you are zoomed right in and looking at the taxi markings on the ground to help with your flying. Once all that's said and done, you can then finish the flight, and then you will be then taken to your logbook, which will then give you an overview of all of the flights you've done. So previously we've done flights from Newcastle to Alicante in a Ryanair airplane, and we then get a flight report of all of that information as well. So we can see our altitude profile, the amount of fuel that we've burnt, distance, flight time, and also we have an archived OFP, comment section, and also the flight map of which the route that we took. Now, new in SimToolkit Pro version 0.6 is the landing reports. And this is very, very cool for sim pilots who want to practice and learn a little bit more about their landing experience. So you get a map of the airport's runway and also information about the touchdown position data, the threshold, and also your actual data as well. So everything from the heading and also the pitch, speed, and also your vertical speed as well. Now, what's important to sim pilots is that your landing rate isn't just determined by the vertical speed, but actually your landing performance is based on a variety of factors, and this will hopefully give you the inspiration and tools you need to perfect those landing experiences. And again, all of your details will be stored locally on your machine, so you can access them anytime. And now heading back to the logbook, you then get an overview of all of your flights, and you can search in the search bar here, and that will run through everything that you've done in particular airports. You can filter it from newest first, registration, shortest, longest flights, etc. So there is a nice variety of options for you to have a look at to get the most out of SimToolkit Pro. Now we're just going to head over to the tools and data just to start wrapping up some of the features included with SimToolkit Pro version 0.6.9. We have an airport database, so we can add some quick links here to some of our favorite airports to get some more detailed information about them. We can also run through checklists for a specific aircraft. We have a wind calculator. We can have a look to see who's on any network online at the moment. We can import information either manually through Project Fly or also fshub.io. And also, this is very cool for X-Plane users, is the approach system. So you simply put in your ICAO code, your runway, and then also you'll be able to set up specific aircraft states, whether your gear is down, spoilers, flaps, etc., and also be able to set up different approaches. So if you are trying to perfect your landing skills, this is an incredible and easy way to be able to do so. Other tools I want to just highlight is the fact down in the bottom right hand corner you have some tabs. So when you first open up SimToolkit Pro, Navigraph will be part of this, so you can sign into your account here and see your charts online. You can also hook up Active Sky and get the weather information. I've currently not got that enabled here, hence the blank screen. And you can also make custom websites as well. So of course, I've put FS Elite here as one of those tabs. Also down here, you can type in any ICAO code and get a weather report, and also the TAF report as well. And then finally, over on the left hand side in the settings section, there's a variety of settings you can change depending on your preferences. There are preferences for the simulator, the live map. Also, you can enable streamer tools such as having a Twitch bot, as well as having overlays as well. So you can show your viewers exactly where you're flying, your altitude, your airspeed, etc. And a whole bunch of other information as well. SimToolkit Pro version 0.6.9 really is a comprehensive update compared to previous versions, and hopefully this first look and overview video gives you some ideas of exactly what use this tool can be used for, and also how you can use it in your sim to better your experiences. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please give us some feedback and tell us how we can improve. And be sure to check out our landing tips and tricks video for anyone who's looking to use the tools within SimToolkit Pro. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two from Ronnie, who goes into quite a lot of detail about how to perfect your landing skills. That's it from me for today. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check us out on fselite.net, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more flight simulation related content. Enjoy the rest of your days, and speak to you soon.